All right, Ayu, you and your husband, Hita,
Mm-hmm.
as you mentioned, you have your own podcast called Parenting Made Special.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you decide to start this project?
Um, for both of us, to be honest, we are just normal parents. We are not an influencer in here in Singapore. So when we wanted to start the podcast, we wanted to start with one intention to help the parents out there to understand what autism is all about. Because when I was first have my son diagnosed with autism, I was a bit lost. I do not know where can I actually hear real stories. Am I the only one who's actually struggling or going through this? Is there anywhere that I can actually find help just to hear people talking, therapists coming forward to share their experiences or what I can learn? I cannot find anything in Singapore. Most of the time, it's either that they post in social media, but we as a working parent, you do not have time to sometimes look through the social media at the same time. So I was telling Hita, you know what? I think we should do this for the community. We should stop this stigma. We should stop this taboo that people is having about autism. Allow those working parents to actually hear and learn along the way while they're actually going to work, listen to podcasts, and these are the things that they can relate to. We want to make things more relatable. So for us, both of us had totally zero knowledge of podcasting. We went to take up some courses to learn and start to approach people as well to see whether would you like to actually come in and be one of our guests and all that. So yeah, that's how it started. It's just about like I say, just one intention to help all the parents out there.
You just launched in January, right?
Yeah, pretty recent, just January.
Okay. I think it's so important to make the information easily accessible. Like, that's how you're going to help people feel that they're not alone and eventually break the stigma.
Yeah, you're right. And even if as such, it's really hard for us to also find guests to come forward as well. Because there were a couple of guests that we actually asked, like, would you like to actually speak? And I think your story can be remarkable for people to hear and relate to. So they were saying that no, I'm not ready to share. So there's still this stigma as well in between the guests list or even the community.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is it common for Singaporean people to talk about their feelings and problems, even unrelated to disabilities, but just in general?
It depends. So some of them they actually prefer to speak to someone that they are close with, but they are not as I would say extrovert to share their feelings or opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on a podcast where it's publicly broadcasted.
Definitely, because some of them will say that would you be showing my face? Would you be showing my name? And which means that they would rather choose to be anonymous at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you can do that?
For example, those let's say mainstream educators, it's part of their contract that they cannot actually showcase their face out there to the public and etc. So some of them we actually remain their identity anonymous. But even so, when we say that we can do that, but after that they remain silent thereafter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess, I mean, you can't push them, right? They'll come on their own time when they're ready.
Yeah.
And maybe even by hearing other people, other parents speaking up, they'll feel more encouraged to speak up themselves and see the value in it.
Yeah, that's what I hope so as well. So when after we launched the podcast, we also went public as well to help and speak in a certain platform where people actually invited us to do so. And one thing that we felt great is we able to actually help those parents who actually send us a DM and say that you know what, my son has this, and what do you think? What are the things that I can help my son with? So in other words, it shows that it's relatable. People is listening and they're actually learning. So actually, we managed to actually catch the goal, at least the first goal that we actually wanted to.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Do you receive any criticism for speaking up?
To be honest, me and my husband actually put this in our mind. Whatever criticism that we're actually going to receive, we're not really going to care. Because what we're doing is for the good of the community. It's nothing disgraceful. So it's more of like the stigma and taboo that they need to actually learn to vanish from their mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes, you can't make everyone happy.
Definitely, for sure. Yeah.
And there's sometimes room to offend people in different ways that you're not even expecting, but you can't let that stop you. And you have
Yeah.
to keep your eye on the main mission, like you said.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a bit different. I think in terms of our culture and the culture over at your end, I think you guys are more open in sharing whatever they feel or whatever they actually understand about autism or disability. But over here, it's really difficult to get people to open up and talk.
Mm-hmm. So my mother's Filipino, and so I understand a lot about Southeast Asian culture. I know it's different, the subcultures within, but I know what you're talking about. Like
Yeah.
there's this idea that you just kind of have to brush everything under the rug. Like you don't really talk about the real problems
Yeah.
because it gets uncomfortable, it gets awkward, people don't know how to respond.
Yeah. Because in Asia, we are always being brought up to always say that bring the good name of your family. But yes, bringing the good name of the family is one thing, but every family has issues and problems, isn't it?
Mhm.
So that's
Mhm.
one thing as well that people need to understand between bringing in the good name of the family and being open to certain things to listen.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, once someone starts, like
Mhm.
once one person kind of breaks that and shows the vulnerability, then it leaves a little bit of room for the other person to reciprocate. Like, oh, okay, I can actually talk about these things. And then it becomes like a safe space.
Yeah. So that's what we're hoping for as well, that we wanted to create this safe space and people would say that it's okay to actually talk about all this kind of stuff.
Yes, exactly. You've been watching Autism Knows No Borders. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, we'd love to hear from you, so let us know what you think in the comments section. Click here to watch this interview in its entirety. You can also find us on your favorite podcast app. Tune in each week for engaging conversations of how people across the globe are inspiring change and building community. Thanks for watching. Take care.